Vertical Media proudly presents B-Tard, the Internet Anthology series from the visionary storytellers at Vertical Media.
Thread 2. So I heard you like. The first hard drive showed up in a padded envelope with no return address. Nate sliced it open with his ID badge. The plastic shell slid onto his desk with a dull clack. Someone had wrapped it in one layer of bubble wrap and 2 strips of cheap tape. A post-it stuck to the metal case. On it, in blue ink, 2007 Forums. Enjoy. J. He flipped the drive in his hand. It had weight. The label on the side said 500 gigabytes. Along one edge, someone had scratched a smiley face with a key. Behind him, in the lab, a test subject muttered at a screen. "I don't get it," the guy said. "Where's the menu?" Nate glanced over his shoulder. In the observation room, through the one-way glass, a college kid in a beanie clicked around a prototype. The Web 2.0 Museum splash screen pulsed in curved letters. Below it, a cluster of fake buttons that didn't look like buttons. His own design. A soft voice came from the speaker over Nate's monitor. "Ask him what he expected to see," Marcy said. "Then walk him back. Don't lead." Nate set the hard drive down and pushed his chair to the console. He hit the talk button. "What did you expect the homepage to show?" he asked. The kid leaned close to the screen. "I don't know," he said. "Like MySpace or something? Or a list?" "Why MySpace?" Nate asked. "It's a museum, right? MySpace is ancient." Nate watched his cursor drift over an animated tag cloud. It pulsed and shifted, each word a different size. The kid never clicked. He reached for his phone, caught himself, and dropped his hand back to the mouse with a, "I feel lost," he said. "Okay," Nate said. "Tell me what makes you feel lost." He ran through the script. Marcy's notes scrolled on a second monitor. He kept his tone level. Ask, don't fix. Listen, don't defend. By the time the session ended, the kid had found 2 dead ends and 1 hidden path. He left with a $50 gift card and a bored look. The door to the lab opened. Marcy stepped in with a tablet under her arm. Her nails tapped on the glass table. "Tag Cloud's dead," she said. "You saw him, confused from second one." "Yeah," Nate said. "We need a clear nav," she said. "Tabs, big type, maybe skeuomorphic stuff, old browser Chrome, people get that." Nate had pitched the tag cloud in a deck last month. Organic discovery, he'd called it. History that moves like the old web did. Marcy had nodded then. Now she said things like clear nav and skeuomorphic, like they'd always been in the plan. "I can mock up tabs," he said. "And the retro content," she said. "We still need real artifacts, not just scraped screenshots. Did you order those drives?" Nate glanced at the metal brick on his desk. "First one came today," he said. "More on the way." "Good," Marcy said. "The Foundation Board loved your authenticity slide. We show them raw 2007 ugliness, we get another quarter of funding." She smiled, not at him, at the idea of the board, at the word funding. "Send me your notes from this session by end of day," she said. "Bullet points. I'll filter for the client." She left, tablet under her arm. Nate sat for a second with his hand on the console. His notes from the session already filled 1 document. He'd tagged each comment. He'd highlighted 3 design issues. He knew exactly what he'd recommend. Marcy would cut it down and stick her name on it. The board would clap. He'd get a pat on the back, maybe a good job in a stand-up. Then it would happen again next week. He rolled his chair back to his own desk. The hard drive waited, mute. He plugged it into the air-gapped tower under his desk, the one IT had set aside for museum research. No network, no sync, just local files and a ghost of the old web. The drive spun up with a faint whine. On his monitor, a new volume appeared. J. 2007 Forums. He opened it. Folders filled the screen. phpBB dumps, vBulletin, custom. Inside each, more folders, each with names from a past life. MyBB Tech, TeenChat_archive, Pokemon Fans_forum, random_4chan. He clicked random_4chan. Inside, a pile of .sql files and a raidme.txt. He opened the RAIDME. Pulled these from an old MySQL backup, it said. B, V, G, etc. Whatever was still left on the box in 2008. No guarantees. If you're seeing this, you owe me a beer. J. Nate, he wasn't supposed to touch 4chan stuff for the museum. The client wanted brand-safe nostalgia. MySpace profiles, Geocities, maybe early YouTube. Not the sewer. But he had his own reasons to care about the sewer. He'd spent too many nights on boards like that when he was 20, lonely in a dorm room with a black Dell and a cheap wireless router. Threads scrolled through his memory in bits and pieces. ASCII art, rage threads, mudkip jokes that made sense only if you'd been there. He made a new folder on his desktop. Personal. He dragged random_4chan.sql into it. He'd mine that later, on his own time, off the record. For now, he opened phpBB dumps. He scanned file names. Skateboarder, anime chat, fanfic zone. This was his job. Dig up 2007. Pull out artifacts that made sense to people born after 9/11. Build a neat, branded box around it. Marcy liked to say, "We're not just building an exhibit, we're building a feeling." She had a slide for it, a Venn diagram with nostalgia and discovery in 2 circles. Nate double-clicked skateforum.sql. The dump opened in his viewer. Rows of insert statements scrolled past. He'd written a script that passed those into HTML pages. A console window popped up. Lines ran. He leaned back while it did its work. The lab around him had 4 desks, 2 UX researchers, 1 visual designer, 1 dev. Whiteboards on 2 walls, covered in flow diagrams. On one shelf, actual relics. A beige tower with an AOL sticker. A stack of CDRs labeled with thick marker. A mouse with a ball. His inbox pinged. Marcy. Remember, deliverables by 5. I want bullets, not essays. Nate closed the window. The parser beeped. A set of folders appeared. Skateforum HTML. He clicked index HTML. A browser window opened. The look hit him in the chest. Blue bars. Gray cell backgrounds. Rounded buttons that said post reply. Usernames in bold. Tiny GIF avatars. The footer said, powered by phpBB, copyright 2001, 2005, phpBB group. He scrolled. Threads about decks, trucks, school. One kid posted pictures of scraped knees. Another bragged about grinding a rail outside Walmart. He pulled out interesting bits, saved PNGs of low-res photos, copied lines of text into a doc, stuff they could use as wall text as part of the exhibit. He worked like that for an hour, forum after forum. A Harry Potter board where people role-played Slytherins. A tech support site where someone asked how to forward a port. When he got bored, he opened random 4chan.sql in the viewer. The file took longer to load. It was bigger than the others. The scroll bar shrank to a thin line. Rows of garbage flew past. Trippos, slurs. Anonymous, again and again. He ran the first and again. He ran the parser on it, hesitated, then pointed the output to his personal folder. The fan kicked up on the tower. The console filled with lines. Decode thread ID equals 13,248. Decode thread ID equals 13,249. He drummed his fingers on the desk. A while later, a folder appeared. random_4chan_HTML. Inside, subfolders by board. B, V, G, mu. He double-clicked B. A basic index page loaded. A list of thread subjects, or what passed for subjects. ITT we post spiders. New copy paster. SOIHERDULIEK. Roll for get. He stopped at SOIHERDULIEK. His mouth twitched. He hadn't thought about that line in years. Back then, people posted pictures of a blue Pokemon with fins on its head and that phrase in white text. So I heard you like mudkips. The joke never made sense. That was the point. He clicked the thread. The page loaded with a single post. No images, just text. So I heard you like... The blanks ran across the screen. Underscores, long enough to hold a word. They pulsed. Nate squinted. They weren't static. The line flickered. Like a command prompt cursor stuck inside it, sliding left and right in a loop. He moved the mouse. The pointer drifted over the line. The flicker slowed. His screen dimmed a notch, then brightened. He leaned closer. The underscores looked like normal underscores, ASCII characters. But the way they caught his eye felt wrong. They held his gaze. He hit Ctrl-U. The page source opened in a new tab. Standard HTML, a layout, a font tag that set color. Inside the post body, he saw the text. So I heard you like... The blank sat there as a run of underscores. Nothing special. No script. He checked the developer tools. No JavaScript loaded from CDNS. No weird inline events. He switched back to the rendered page. So I heard you like... He thought the font looked a little sharper. The line of blanks stole focus again. His cursor blinked somewhere else on the screen, but his eyes wanted that gap. He exhaled through his nose. Cute, he said. Very cursed. He clicked into the browser address bar, typed mudkip as a test search. His fingers moved from muscle memory. The line on the forum post flickered faster. He froze. He typed one more letter in the address bar. The underscore line under the post shifted in time with his keystrokes. Forward on each key press, back when he held. He hit backspace. The line shrank by one underscore, then popped back. It wasn't his cursor, but it acted like it. He sat up. The air in the lab felt tight. He looked behind him. The others had gone. The dev's desk sat empty. The visual designer's headphones hung on her chair. The clock on the wall said 7:12. He'd lost 2 hours without noticing. Nate looked at the post again. So I heard you like... He let his hand rest on the mouse. The blank stayed steady now. No pulse. He tried to Alt-Tab away. The other windows popped up. His notes, the skate forum, a half-written email to Marcy. On each of them, in some corner, he saw something blue. A small icon. A mudkip sticker in the corner of the email client. A tiny sprite in the Skype tray. It turned its head when he looked. He squeezed his eyes shut, opened them again. Everything looked normal. No mudkip, just icons, text, the fan on the tower whirring. He shook his head, hard, like clearing water from his ears. Too much screen, he said. He moved the mouse back to the 4chan window. The blank waited. On a whim, he clicked in the post body. His cursor jumped into the line of underscores. The text bar appeared after the last one. The old phpBB edit box outline flashed for a second and vanished. He jerked his hand back. The cursor stayed inside the blanks. He typed one letter. C. The first underscore turned into a C. He typed 1 troll. The underscores filled one by one. So I heard you like control. He stopped. His finger hovered over enter. He laughed once, a sharp sound. It echoed in the empty lab. Sure, he said to the screen. Why not? He hit enter. The browser didn't refresh. The post stayed as it was. A bar popped up at the top. You do not have permission to post in this thread. He snorted. The overhead light flickered. A quiet pop came from the panel. The room dimmed for a fraction of a second, then returned. The air in his lungs felt heavier. Not bad, just different. He checked the wall clock. Still 7:12. The second hand twitched, jumped to 7:13. He heard footsteps in the hall. Marcy pushed the door open. You're still here, she said. Nate clicked away from the 4chan tab by instinct. The skate forum filled the screen. Yeah, he said. I ran the parser on a big dump. Took a while. You sent those notes, she said. Just finished them, he lied. She stepped in. Her eyes landed on the ancient forum UI. Wow, she said. That's rough. It's period authentic, Nate said. She nodded. Anyway, she said, don't stay too late. You get that glassy look when you do, and then your recommendations read like novels. Bullet points, remember? Right, he said. She didn't hover, didn't walk around his desk and look at his screen, didn't say, let's align, or circle back tomorrow. She just left. He frowned at the door. Marcy never passed up a chance to stand over his shoulder. He'd seen her do it to everyone. Nitpick fonts, question click targets, rewrite their test questions mid-session. Tonight, she'd just let him be. He finished his notes fast. Short, as requested. 3 bullets, no essays. He hit send. On the way out, he passed her glass-walled office. She sat inside at her desk, shoulders slumped, staring at a blank surface. No Slack, no mail, no color-coded calendar. She didn't see him. On the street, traffic moved in a smooth stream. No brake lights, no honking. He hit every green from the office lot to the ramp. At the coffee shop by his bus stop, the barista saw him coming and held up a cup. Americano, right? She said. He blinked. Yeah, he said. Double shot, splash of oat, she said. I got you. She handed him the cup before he could reach for his wallet. He checked the temperature with a sip. It hit his tongue at that perfect point where it didn't burn, but still felt hot. He stepped out onto the sidewalk. A sour thought sat under the caffeine. He dug his phone out of his pocket and opened his notes app. On a new line, he typed, So I heard you like control. Then a dash, then Marcy backed off. Traffic smooth. Coffee perfect. He locked the screen. On a bus ad above the shelter, a cartoon Pokemon grinned down. Big head fin, orange cheeks, blue body. Mudkip. He stared at it, He could have sworn that ad space had held the pizza chain logo that morning. The bus pulled up. The mudkip's eyes seemed to follow him as he climbed on. The next morning, Marcy didn't mention hover states, label tone, or persona decks. She breezed into the stand-up 10 minutes late, tossed her tablet on the table, and said, "You all know your stuff. Run with it. I trust you." Nate waited for the rest. We still need to hit milestones. Let's align. Nothing. She turned to him. "Nate, your test notes were tight," she said. "Good calls. Just implement what you think best. No need to loop me on every small change." He stared. "Okay," he said. She flashed a thumbs up and left before the stand-up ended. Jess, the visual designer, raised her eyebrows at him. "What did you slip in her coffee?" she mouthed. Nate shrugged. He spent the morning doing exactly what he wanted with the IA. He killed the tag cloud. It hurt a little, but the data backed it up. He built simple tabs. He buried the gamified nostalgia thing Marcy had pushed. He added a random artifact button in a corner, a small gift to his younger self. No messages from Marcy came, no pings, no comments in Figma. By lunch, his inbox had fewer unread items than usual. No quick questions from stakeholders, no spreadsheets stuck with his name and track changes. Around 3, he realized his jaw didn't hurt. On normal days, he clenched it by noon. A thought kept circling. He minimized Slack, opened the local 4chan page again. "So I heard you like control?" The words sat there. No blank, no underscore line. His edit still filled it. He tried to click into it. The cursor stayed outside, no input. He checked the page source. The text now read, "So I heard you like control," in the HTML. No underscores remained. He opened the folder. All the other threads looked like dead static, old posts, no blinking lines. It felt like he'd burned a fuse. After work, he stopped at the same coffee shop. The barista said his order before he opened his mouth. The drink came out right. On his way to the bus, his phone buzzed. His mother. He answered. "You sound relaxed," she said in Korean. "New medication?" "Hi, Uma," he said. "No, work is just fine today." "You always say you are busy," she said. "Today you say fine." "I guess things picked up," he said. "You should be careful," she said. "When life feels easy, something waits on the other side." She always talked like that, small warnings in simple sentences. "Sure," he said. On a lamppost by the corner, another mudkip sticker clung to the metal. The edges peeled a little. The eyes stared at him. "You still at that computer job?" his mother asked. "Yeah," he said. "You hurt your back, tell them you need a chair," she said. "Don't be stupid." He looked down the street. Commuters moved in lines. No one darted, no one shoved. He felt like he stood in the eye of a calm circle. "Okay, Mom," he said. "I'll tell them." He didn't mean to try the post again. 3 days went by. Life stayed smooth. Not perfect, just less friction. His landlord finally fixed the leak under his sink without 3 reminders. The bus ran on schedule. His upstairs neighbor stopped doing nightly cardio at midnight. At work, Marcy kept her distance. She spoke up in client meetings for sure, but she let him run the research without commentary. When he recommended something, she said, "Sounds good," and meant it. He waited for the catch. He woke up one night at 3:14 with a need to piss and the thought in his head, "It wants another answer." He sat on the edge of his bed with his phone in his hand. The apartment felt like a stage set after the crew left. Silent, objects in place, nothing moving. He thought about the blank from that first night, the feel of the keys under his fingers, the small pop in the lights. He opened his notes app where he'd written the line, scrolled. "So I heard you like control?" Marcy backed off. Traffic smooth, coffee perfect. He stared at it. His thumb hovered over control. He considered deleting the line, as if that would matter. He set the phone face down, went to the bathroom. On the way back, he stubbed his toe on the table leg. Pain shot up his foot. He swore, hopped, grabbed the edge of the counter. "Okay," he said. "Maybe not full God mode." He didn't sleep again that night. The next afternoon, during a lull between sessions, he went back to the air-gapped machine. The lab sat empty again. Jess and Deb had gone to a happy hour. Marcy had a board dinner. Nate liked the lab best when it was like this, just him and the hum. He woke the monitor. The local 4chan folder sat where he'd left it. He opened the "So I heard you like" thread. "So I heard you like control?" He tried the scroll wheel by reflex. Nothing below. Only that one post. He checked the timestamp in the dump header. September 13th, 2007, 21:12:03. No replies, no other posts. He wondered what some bored anon had meant by it back then. Maybe they'd started to type mudkips and got distracted. Maybe they'd built some cursed script and forgotten to debug it. He clicked the address bar, typed G, then backspaced. Nothing moved in the post. He moved the mouse to the text body, clicked inside the white space below the post. His cursor stayed there, not in the line, on the next line down. He hit the down arrow. The cursor jumped into the question, right on the question mark, then scooted back one space, sat after the K of like. He swallowed. He hit end. The cursor slid to the end of the line. He hit backspace. The question mark vanished. He hit backspace again. The L from leek disappeared. He watched his own hand. He erased leek, then you, then heard, until the line read, "So I control." He stopped. "Okay," he said under his breath. "Okay." He had a shot now. He could clear out the word, see what happened. With his other hand, he opened a new doc on the side, typed, "So I heard you leak edit 2." Dated it. If something broke, he at least had a record. He hit backspace 5 more times. The underscores reappeared, one at a time. The cursor stayed at the end. "So I heard you leak." The blank pulsed once. Just once. A single dim out, then back. Nate's throat felt dry. He swallowed. It didn't help. "What else do I like?" he said. His voice sounded flat in the room. He thought about money, then thought about the rent bump his landlord had hinted at, thought about credit card balances. He thought about sex, then thought about his last date 6 months ago. A Tinder drink where he'd talked too much about UX flows and watched the woman's eyes glaze. He pictured himself typing sex into that line. Pictured the room going dark for a second. Pictured waking up in a room full of slack-faced people who'd lost something to make space for his wish. He grimaced. "That's gross," he said. "No." He scrolled his own life in his head. Places where he felt small. Places where he felt invisible. Meetings, parties, family dinners where his cousins talked and nobody asked him a thing beyond, "How's work?" He remembered being the quiet kid in grade school, the one who got grades but no handshakes, the one whose name teachers forgot until roll call. His fingers moved on their own. Being mere. "So I heard you leak being admired?" He stared at the words. They looked stupid, corny. He almost hit backspace. He thought, if control made life smoother, maybe admiration would make it lighter, easier to talk, less invisible. He thought about his mother's voice on the phone. "You always say you are busy. Today you say fine." His heart ticked in his chest. Not fast, not slow. He hit enter. The screen stayed the same. The ceiling light popped again. The room dimmed. A tiny shift in pressure made his ears pop. He put his palms on the desk and waited. The second hand on the wall clock jerked from 2:41 to 2:45. He checked his phone. 2:45. A hum came and went in the air, like a refrigerator compressor starting and stopping behind a wall. Nothing else moved. He sat back. "That's it," he said. He walked to the glass and looked into the empty test room. 2 chairs, a table, a camera lens in the corner. In the reflection, for half a second, he saw shapes over his own face. Mudkip eyes on his cheeks like stickers, a fin on his head. Then he blinked and saw only himself. He rubbed his eyes with thumb and forefinger. On his way back to his chair, his phone buzzed. A Slack notification. #random channel. He frowned. The app rarely pinged him for that. He checked it. Someone had posted, "Shout out to AppMate for carrying this project. Guys, if you haven't seen his notes, we're lucky to have him." 5 thumbs up already. 3 hearts. A mudkip emoji Jess liked to spam, now next to his name. He stared. Another ping. A direct message from Dev. "Bro," Dev wrote. "I was just telling Jess, you're kind of the glue here. I know I give you shit in stand-ups, but you make this place make sense." A moment later, "No homo, LOL." Nate let out a breath he didn't know he'd held. 2 more messages hit. One from Jess. "Your flows are so clear it makes layout fun instead of hell. Just had to say." One from an engineer he barely knew. "I recommended you to my friend's startup as like the gold standard for research." He set the phone down. His hand shook a little. He walked to the break room. 2 people from accounting sat at the table eating microwaved food. Usually they nodded and went back to their own conversation. Today they turned fully toward him. "Dude," one said, "I saw your deck from last week. That museum thing? Sick." Seriously, the other said. "I thought it would be some boring compliance training vibe, but it actually looks like something I'd use." "You made that?" the first said. Nate said. "Yeah, with the team." "You crushed it," the second said. Nate poured coffee with his left hand. His right hand gripped the counter. He spotted a sticker stuck to the cabinet door. A small blue Pokemon head, water drops around it, tiny black text under it. "So I heard you leak mudkips." He'd never seen that sticker before. "Where'd that come from?" he asked. "Huh?" the accounting guy said. Nate pointed. "Oh," the guy said. "No idea. Been there forever, right?" "Yeah," the other said. "Office mascot." They went back to their food. Their conversation drifted. It circled back to him twice, what he thought of the new lunch policy, if he'd watched the new sci-fi show. They laughed at his one-liners like he'd said something sharp. He went back to his desk. The day turned into a series of small spotlights. People stopped by his chair and asked for his take. A PM from another floor emailed him to ask if he'd look at her survey script, because you always nail the tone. Even Marcy, breezing between meetings, paused. "By the way," she said, "the board loved your framing on participatory history. They said it finally helped them get it. I told them we're lucky to have you." He blinked. "Thanks," he said. She smiled, real this time, without the performative teeth. His phone buzzed. A message from his ex. He stared at the name. Jessica, in all caps. He hadn't seen it in months. "Hey," it said. "Random, but I was just telling someone about you, about how you think about design. You always had this clear way of mapping things out. Hope you're good." His stomach flipped. He typed back, "Hey, I'm okay. Hope you're good too." He stared at the bubble. Nothing else came. He set the phone down. The surge of warmth in his chest held for a minute, then curdled. It felt too easy. He opened the 4chan post again. "So I heard you like being admired." No flicker, no pull, just the words. He saw something in the corner of the page, a small icon in the browser Chrome that hadn't been there before. A mudkip head as the favicon. He moved the mouse over it. A tooltip popped up. B. Random. He closed the window. That night on the bus, 2 strangers struck up conversations with him for no reason. A woman in a blazer asked what he was reading and sat next to him when he answered. A teenager with a skateboard commented on his shoes and launched into a rant about old games. Both laughed easily. Both held eye contact a little too long. Nate stepped off 3 stops early and walked the rest of the way home. On a brick wall near his street, somebody had spray-painted a big mudkip. Blue body, orange cheeks, white outline. Under it, "Do you like?" The letters curved around a blank space. Nate stood there with his grocery bag in one hand. A car rolled past behind him. The driver leaned out the window and shouted, "Nice jacket, man," for no reason. He went upstairs without answering. The cost showed itself in small holes. The first one Nate noticed sat at the empty desk across from him. Dev's intern, Maya, hadn't come in that morning. Her laptop waited, lid closed. Her mechanical keyboard sat without its usual rainbow pattern. No half-empty energy drink by the mousepad. Around 10, Nate asked Jess, "You seen Maya today?" Jess frowned. "Who's Maya?" she said. "The intern," he said. "Dev's kid. The one who wears all the band shirts. Pink hair." Jess stared at him. "We don't have an intern," she said. He looked at Dev down the pod. Dev scrolled through code with his headphones around his neck. "Hey," Nate called. "Where's Maya?" Dev turned. "Who?" he said. "Your intern," Nate said. "Started last month, from Berkeley." Dev's brow furrowed. "I never had an intern," he said. "Budget's tight, remember?" Nate stood. He walked to the empty desk. He tried to picture Maya's face. It didn't come as sharp as it should have. He saw flashes, nose ring, tattoo on her forearm of a glitchy Game Boy. The way she'd once ranted in the break room about design systems that tried to control micro-interactions. "She did that audit on the museum prototype," he said. "Found all the inconsistencies in our click targets. You thanked her in stand-up." Dev looked at him like he'd slipped. "You did that audit," Dev said. "Last Thursday. You sent a doc. Marcy read parts of it in the client call." Nate's skin crawled. He fumbled for his laptop, opened his own audit file. On the cover slide, his name sat in the author spot. No "and Maya S" in small type. No comments from another account in the margins. He clicked through. Each note read in his voice, his turns of phrase, his tags. He opened Slack, typed Maya in the search box. No hits. He searched his email. Nothing. He checked the desk again. The only object on it was a single sticker stuck to the edge of the monitor stand. A mudkip head. The same as the cabinet sticker in the break room. The back of his neck prickled. He peeled the sticker up. The glue held firm. He worked his fingernail under one corner. It came free with a soft rip. Under it, bare plastic. No mark. He turned the sticker over. On the back, in small printed type, he saw Copyright 2003 Pokemon/Nintendo. Nothing else. Jess watched him. "You good?" she said. "Yeah," he said. "Just thought I saw someone different sitting here." "Maybe you're mixing us with the data team," she said. "They cycle people every month." "Yeah," he said. "Maybe." He sat. His heart thudded. He opened his personal notes, scrolled back 2 pages. He found a line from last week. "Maya says the retro museum feels too clean, wants us to show the jank." He stared at the word Maya. It sat there in his own handwriting, proof he'd not made her up. He tapped the page with his finger. The ink blurred at her name. Slow, like something seeped under the paper. The M smudged. The A's bled together. The Y washed out. He rubbed his eyes, looked again. The line now read, "Says the retro museum feels too clean. Wants us to show the jank." No name. He touched the paper. Dry. He flipped to another page. No other mention of her. He thought of the blank line in the 4chan post, the way it had pulled his words in. "So I heard you like control. So I heard you like being admired." Someone had to give, he thought. He scanned the room. Nobody puzzled. No one asked, "Where's the intern?" Nobody stared at the empty desk. In their heads, she'd never existed. Her work sat under his name. Her comments echoed under his. He looked at the Mudkip sticker in his hand. Blue face, black dot eyes, a grin. He closed his fist around it until the paper crumpled. That night he dug deeper. He stayed late under the pretense of finishing a journey map. When the rest left, he went to the air-gapped tower. The 4chan folder opened with a click. The "So I heard you like" thread sat unchanged. He tried to edit the line again. No cursor this time. The words stayed fixed. He backed out to the B index. The list of threads rolled past. Rate my rig. Epic fail compilation. Mudkip General. He clicked Mudkip General. A mess of images loaded. Low-res sprites, bad fan art, one photo of a stuffed Mudkip in a car. The OP had posted, "So I heard you like Mudkips." Replies spammed, "Yes, no, I like," endless. Buried near the bottom, one post caught his eye. Anonymous, September 14th, 2007, Friday, 2/13/27. Number 672512. You guys ever seen the blank? That "so I heard you like" thing? My cousin says it grants wishes. A reply below with a tiny arrow. Heh. Another. Anonymous, September 14th, 2007, Friday, 2/15/02. Number 672541. Blank is fake, creepypasta. If it asks 4 names, you bail. He scrolled. Anonymous, September 14th, 2007, Friday, 2/16/45. Number 67258. No, seriously, don't type names. My friend did his G-friend's name and she ghosted him. Like he never existed. We barely remember her. Just Mudkip stickers under her desk. Nate's pulse ticked up. He checked the timestamps. All within minutes. From 14 years ago. He searched the dump for the blank. Found 3 more posts in other threads. Joke references mostly. One claimed the blank lived at the bottom of B, under all the porn. Another said it was like a hungry cursor that eats nouns. He found one longer story, a copy pasta someone had reposted from somewhere else. He clicked it. The blank. So I'm at my friend's house, right? He's got this old HDD from like 2004. Ling around says it's full of old Chan caps and shit. We plug it in, browse, laugh, whatever. Then there's this one thread, only one post. So I heard you like? And the line is blinking, like a cursor. He thinks it's Jess. I think it's ill. He types in money, 'cause he's a faggot. Hit enter. Nothing happens. We go to bed next day. His dad calls, says some dead uncle left them dollars. I'm like, lol, okay. But then I notice some shit like his little sister. No one talks about her anymore. Her room is there, but it's like a guest room. There's Mudkip stickers on the closet door. I try to bring her up. My friend gets this headache look like he's trying to remember a dream. Blank is real, bros. You can have something, but something else gets wiped, and you don't get to pick what. Never type names. Copy pasta from /x/. Nate read it twice. His mouth went dry. He scrolled down. Replies joked. Sounds like BS, one said. Cool story, bro, another. A few posted Mudkip pics. One wrote, pics of sis or didn't happen. He checked the date, September 20th, 2007. He sat back. Someone 14 years ago had written what he'd just lived. He thought of that empty desk, the smudged name in his notebook, the Mudkip sticker he'd crushed. Maya, he thought. Her face slid away like a dream when you tried to hold it. He got up fast and went to the sink in the break room, ran water, splashed his face. The sticker in his fist had turned to pulp. Blue dye colored his palm. He scrubbed it off under cold water. On the paper towel dispenser, another Mudkip sticker smiled. He ripped it off too, threw it away. He went back to the lab, opened a new text file on the air-gapped machine. Title, Blank Rules. He typed, blank appears as old post, so I heard you like? You can type a word in. That word comes true for you, or maybe for the system around you. In exchange, someone/something loses existence/agency. Loss marked by Mudkip. He added, past 2007 Anon say, never type names. Deletion seems permanent. History rewrites. He saved the file, printed it, folded the paper and slid it into his back pocket. On the way home, his bus passed 3 Mudkip graffitis in different parts of town. One painted on a highway overpass, one on the side of a bodega, one on a utility box. He hadn't seen any of them before. He held the folded blank rules in his pocket like a talisman. His phone buzzed. Dev. Random, but we were talking at happy hour. We all kinda agree you're like the soul of the team. LOL. Don't let it go to your head. Nate smiled, despite himself. Then the smile slid away. Soul, he thought. Whose? He tried to stop there. He swore off the blank. He left the air-gapped tower alone except for real work. He focused on tests, on transcripts, on building a museum of old lols. The admiration didn't stop, though. Once granted, it stayed. That week, he got invited to 2 speaking panels he hadn't applied for. A product conference wanted him on a UX roundtable. A UX boot camp asked if he'd do a guest lecture on ethics in experience design. He laughed when he saw that subject line. Ethics. He wrote back to both with polite declines. Not enough time, he said. Heavy project load, he said. He didn't tell them, I shouldn't be on a panel about ethics because I erased a person for praise. He bought a notepad just for blank-related notes. On the first page, he drew a rectangle, wrote, input on one side, output on the other. Under input, control, being admired. Under output, Marcy backing off, smooth traffic, praise, Maya gone. He drew a line under that, wrote, cost global or local? He didn't want the answer. He got a hint 2 days later in the cafeteria. He sat with his tray, half listening to Jess and Dev argue about rounded corners. At the next table, 2 engineers discussed layoffs. Feels like the world's gone dull, one said. Like, I used to care about some stuff. Now I just don't. Nate's fork paused halfway to his mouth. The other shrugged. Burnout, he said. No, like more than that, the first said. I used to be obsessed with painting. Now my canvases are just blank. I don't even want to look at them. He pushed his food around on the plate. You seen that guy from research? He said. Nate? He did that talk in the all hands. I could listen to him explain form fields all day. Dude, same, the other said. He makes everything sound so clear. We need more people like him. Nate's stomach turned. He forced a bite down. It sat poorly. He left his tray half full and went back to his desk. He put blank rules in front of him, tapped the paper with his pen. He added, admiration drains other passions. People's focus shifts. He wrote, attention is finite. Blank rebalances. He thought about something he'd read in a behavior economics book once. Value didn't come from nowhere. Shifted here, it left there. He put his head in his hands. His direct messages pinged. #random tag. Someone had posted a meme where his face sat on a mudkip body. He closed Slack. The next time he used the blank, he told himself it was to fix what he'd already done. He told himself a lie, in other words. It started with Marcy again. The foundation board visit came up. Everyone ran around printing mock-ups, building click-throughs, timing demos. Marcy jumped back in hard. She sat in his sessions, cut him off, added her own questions. She pinged him with small copy changes that gutted his wording. You can't talk about the old internet like it's dead, she said in one comment. The board is sensitive. Call it the early internet instead. One user said the word tacky in their description of this page, she wrote in another. We cannot ship tacky. He watched his past few weeks of smooth control slip. The admiration still flowed, but the control kinked. On the morning of the visit, he stood in front of a whiteboard, marker in hand. He'd been about to draw a journey map. The marker tip stayed near the board, unmoving. He hated himself for what he thought next. If they liked him even more, he thought, she wouldn't push like this. He caught his own reflection in the glass, the look on his face. He set the marker down. That afternoon, the board met in a conference room with floor-to-ceiling windows. Nate presented findings. He walked through slides. He kept his voice even. Halfway through, one board member, an older man with a silver beard, leaned forward. This is excellent, he said. I feel like I'm learning, not just nodding at buzzwords. Your team's lucky they have you. Marcy smiled, tight. We all bring something, she said. Yes, of course, he said. But it's clear who the backbone is here. After, in the hall, she cornered him. Nice work, she said. That went well. Thanks, he said. She stared at him in a way he couldn't read. You ever think about a leadership track? She said. Creative director, maybe? I'd hate to lose you from the trenches, but we could use your brain higher up. Her tone held something like deference. He nodded. Sure, he said. We can talk. That night, he ate instant noodles over his sink and stared at the blank rules page. He'd written 3 fake words under input and crossed them out. Money, sex, fame. He added, admiration keeps rising even if you don't feed it more? Then, or does blank keep taking? He thought of Maya. He thought of the engineer who'd lost interest in painting. He thought of the barista who now asked about his day every time and seemed to forget other customers until they called out twice. His phone buzzed. Marcy. Sorry for being up in your grill this morning. I know I can be intense. You handled it with grace. He put the phone down. He went to the lab. The building after hours sounded different. No low chatter from other floors, no meeting room door clicks, just the ventilation and the occasional elevator ding. He sat at the air-gapped tower. The monitor glowed. The B index stared back. The "So I heard you leak" thread waited in the list. He clicked it. So I heard you leak being admired? He tried to put the cursor in again. It didn't move. He thought of another workaround. An earlier post had mentioned another blank. Maybe there were copies. He searched the dump file with Ctrl+F for "So I heard you leak." 4 hits came up, 2 of them with the main thread. The third sat in a reply where someone had copied it as a joke. The 4th sat alone in another small thread. He clicked that one. The page loaded. A single post again. So I heard you leak. The blank line stared up. His chest tightened. He looked at blank rules folded on the desk beside the keyboard. He flattened it out. Never type names, it said. He thought, maybe you can give things back. Maybe if you type undo or reset or Maya, the system will refund. He knew that went straight against the rule in front of him. He rationalized. Maybe the rule meant don't type someone else's name. Maybe your own was safe. Maybe inputting yourself would balance the ledger. He opened a new file, titled it blank test 3, intended undo. He wrote, goal, undo previous changes, return admiration/praise/erased entities. Approach, use new blank instance. Try undo or reset. If no change, consider controlled self-reference. Risk unknown. He saved. He put his fingers on the keys. He typed UNDO. So I heard you leak undo? He hit enter. The room dimmed. The second hand on the wall clock skipped backwards from 9:32 to 9:29. His stomach dropped with the motion. He gripped the desk. The overhead light flickered. Somewhere in the building, a relay clacked. He sat there for a full minute. Nothing else shifted. He opened his email on his laptop, checked sent mail. Blank rules still sat there in drafts. His notes to himself hadn't rolled back. His presentations from last week stayed in Outbox with the same timestamps. He checked Slack history. The meme of his face on a mudkip still sat in number random. No sign of Maya. No change. He checked his blank rules page. The ink hadn't unsmudged her name. Undo had done nothing useful. He looked at the new blank on the screen. So I heard you leak undo? No cursor, no blanks. He backed out to /B index. The test thread now sat with the others. Locked, old. He bit the inside of his cheek until he tasted blood. He thought of that copy pasta. You can have something, but something else gets wiped and you don't get to pick what. This was no clean API, no method and response. It was a thing that wanted input and didn't owe him logic. He stared at the search box. His fingers hovered. Self-reference, he thought. Feed it yourself. Sink the bug into the source. His mind ran through analogies. Recursive functions that resolved to base cases, garbage collection, carbon offsets. Underneath the tech words sat something simpler. If he screwed this up, millions could pay. He zoned out for a second, eyes on the green glow of the monitor. A mudkip sprite blinked in the corner of the window, then vanished. He jerked back. "Fuck it," he said. "Fine." He clicked into the search results again. The second blank stared back. He put his fingers on the keyboard. "So I heard you leak." He thought, don't type Marcy, don't type Maya, don't type Mom. He typed his own name. First name, last name, Nate Cho. "So I heard you leak Nate Cho?" He stared at the line. The letters looked dumb and fragile. He hit enter. The room went silent, not just quieter, fully mute. The hum of the HVAC cut off. The distant elevator chime died. Even the small buzz of the fluorescent over his head stopped. His own breath sounded too loud for a second. Then that faded too. He opened his mouth. No sound came out. The world lost audio. The light dimmed without flicker. The colors in front of him washed out a notch. Reds cooled, blues warmed, whites went gray. He stood without feeling the chair scrape. The wall clock's second hand stuttered, jumped, then swung in a slow circle, faster than it should, but not right. 9:30, 9:31, 9:32, 9:33, around and around. He looked at the 4chan screen. The post still read, "So I heard you like Nate Cho." No cursor, no change. His chest ached. He clutched at it. No thump, no blood rush in his ears. Panic fought its way up through the numb. He stumbled out into the hall. Jess stood there with a stack of papers, mid-step. Dev leaned against the wall with his phone in hand. Marcy strode past the end of the corridor with a laptop. They all froze at once. Their bodies stayed where they were, their eyes tracked to him. Their mouths formed words. No sound. Dev laughed, it looked like. Jess's mouth shaped, "Hey." Marcy's lips said, "There you are." Their eyes brightened as they saw him. Focus caught, like camera lenses turning. They all smiled, same slow curve. Nate backed up. The paper in Jess's hand slipped. It should have hit the ground. It hung in the air, half fallen. Everywhere he looked, people's gazes followed him. In the sales pit, heads popped up over dividers as if pulled by a string. In the kitchen, a guy with a fork halfway to his mouth let the food slide off, eyes on Nate. They stepped toward him, not in unison, but with a lag, as if waking. He ran. His feet hit carpet, no thud. He hit the stairwell, the door swung, no creak. He took the stairs 2 at a time, no echo. On the ground floor, the security guard at the desk lifted his head, his eyes locked on Nate. His cheeks spread in a wide grin. Nate pushed through the lobby doors. The city waited. Cars filled the street in neat lines. Pedestrians moved on sidewalks. A dog paused at a hydrant. All of them turned their heads toward him. He saw it in a wave, like a stadium crowd doing a slow-motion cheer. Drivers' faces pressed to their windows. Bus riders crowded to one side of the aisle. The dog's leash went slack as its owner stared. Background motion drained. Billboards on buildings blinked. Ads glitch-flipped to a white page. In the center of each, a photo of him, standing at a whiteboard, sitting at his desk. Candid shots he didn't remember anyone taking. Text under each, "So I heard you like Nate Cho." His heart slammed in his chest. The beat came back all at once. Sound rushed in. Honks, footsteps, the whoosh of cars. But under all that, one tone, a low hum, like a server farm far away. He staggered backward into the building's entry. Hands reached for him. Not rough, not grasping, just eager. "Nate," Jess said. He heard her now. "Hey, you okay?" Dev's face swam into view. "Dude," he said, "we were just talking about you." Marcy stood behind them, smile fixed. "We're always talking about you," she said. Nate pushed through them. They let him, not out of respect, out of expectation, as if they wanted to see what he'd do next. He hit the elevator button. The doors opened at once, like they'd been waiting on his finger. He rode up alone. The floor indicator didn't move. It just said his name. Nate. He watched it blink. His phone buzzed nonstop. He pulled it out. The lock screen filled with notifications, mentions, tags. Twitter. This @NC2UX thread blew my mind. I used to care about politics, but now I just want to hear what @NC2UX thinks about button copy. Anyone else kind of obsessed with that guy from the museum thing? Instagram. 36 new followers. Accounts with bios like, former foodie, now Nate fan. His ex had texted again. "I don't know why, but I keep thinking about you," she wrote. "Like, all the time. It's weird." Another from his mother. "Your aunt called me," she'd typed. "She says she can't stop talking about you at Bridge. Is this some news thing? Are you famous?" He typed back with shaking thumbs. "Don't watch anything. Just don't. Please." The elevator arrived on his floor. The doors slid open. His reflection waited. Mudkip stickers dotted the wall behind him. On his own cheek in the glass, a faint blue shape glowed. A fin that faded when he touched it. He stepped out. The floor looked like it had that morning. Desks, chairs, monitors. But the posters on the walls had changed. No move fast and fix things. No client logos. Just white sheets of paper taped up, each with a printout of his headshot from LinkedIn. Under each, in large letters, "We like Nate." A motion caught his eye. In the far conference room, through the glass, the TV that usually showed analytics dashboards now displayed a single white screen. In the center, a text box blinked. Under it, reply to, "So I heard you like Nate Cho." Someone inside tapped the remote. Nothing else came up. Nate backed away from the glass. In his pocket, the blank rules page crinkled. He pulled it out. The top half still read, "Blank rules." Under that, his bullet points. At the bottom, the line he'd written that afternoon. Approach. Use new blank instance. Try undo or reset. If no change, consider controlled self-reference. Below it, in his handwriting but stretched somehow, the words, "Self-reference achieved. New global preference set, Nate Cho. All other values, drain." His pen hadn't written that. He dropped the page. The paper drifted down like a leaf. A Mudkip sticker clung to its back, stuck there from somewhere. He stepped on it. It squished under his shoe. For a second, the floor around his foot turned white. He lifted his shoe. Office carpet again. Jess called from behind him. "Nate," she said, "can we hang out tonight? I cancelled my book club. I'd rather hear you talk about your work." Dev nodded beside her. "Yeah," he said. "We were thinking of starting a little group, just like listening to you think out loud." Others gathered. "Same," a sales guy said. "My friends asked if I wanted to hit the game, but honestly, I'd rather just sit and hear your thoughts. Do you have a podcast? Someone else asked. I deleted all mine. None of them feel worth it now. But if you had one... Voices layered, requests, invitations, all centered on him. He backed himself into his cubicle. The walls closed around. On his monitor, his wallpaper had reset. No more calming abstract shapes, just a white expanse. In the center, a big input field. Gray placeholder text. So I heard you like... No underscores this time, just a blinking cursor. His fingers twitched. His phone buzzed again. A DM from some stranger. I dropped out of school today. Nothing matters except hearing what you think. Is that crazy? He tossed the phone onto the desk. He stared at the new blank. It stared back. The cursor blinked.
Thank you for listening to Beatard, our audiobook anthology podcast. If you're enjoying the adventure and wish to support us further, please consider joining our Patreon community at patreon.com/vertical. That's patreon.com/verticle. This episode of Beatard is a production of Vertical Media, LLC. All rights reserved. Produced and edited by our talented team. The fabulous theme music was created exclusively for Beatard and is used with permission.
Big shout out to our amazing Patreon supporters. Seriously, you're the reason this show gets to exist in the way we want it to. Your backing helps cover production, keeps the lights on, and lets us make the episodes bigger, weirder, and better. Extra love to this episode's legend, Adam Binnebury. Thank you for your support.
Vertical Media /B was never good.